Well, good morning, humanity. It's May 22, 2023, and it's just the most wonderful time of the week because it's Mondays with Bev and Paul. And hi, everybody, my name's Paul.
Well, good morning. This is Bev.
Good morning, Bev, and
Good
how
morning,
are you
Paul.
this fine day?
Just wonderful. Thank
Just
you.
wonderful, okay. All right, so we wanted to talk a little more about the workshop that we had last Thursday with Justin Franson. It was so awesome and so loaded with information, we needed to pick it up today. And
Yeah.
so the question that we are posing is, can BioTouch help with EMF exposure? So
Good
let's
question.
take it away here. Now, the first thing that Bev and I were talking about before we came on was, this is not about creating fear based conspiracy ideology, okay? We want to show some of the science just behind being aware of what this electromagnetic frequency exposure is about and how it might be polluting our very existence as human beings on the planet or disrupting it. That's a better word than polluting.
That's the word he used.
Did
Yeah.
he? Oh, okay. Well, we're
Yep.
on the same.
There you
so,
go.
uh, so I did want to start, and then Bev's going to chime in about when I first became aware of this, and that was back when I first started BioTouch. Of course, I had dropped out of society, and we lived out on the land with no running water, no electricity,
Right.
no anything. I mean, that was, and it's funny because I never felt healthier than on that land where there
Right.
was no pollution at all. I mean, there were no cell towers, there was nothing. We didn't even have a mailbox, so that it was just total nature. And that's what we're going to talk about here. But then when I moved into Mancos, Colorado, met Norman, and we created BioTouch Healing, I came across these books back in the 80s. And the first one was by Dr. Robert Becker called Body Electric. Great books still out there. They're not some of the newer data, but he talks about how we are actually electromagnetic beings
Yep.
and how we work and how that works with nature. And he actually did some research with like salamanders. He would clip their little feet and stuff and put electromagnetic units on their feet, and it would grow back. And I always thought, there were always these gurus who could make things come out of nowhere.
Right.
It was all energy, it was all electromagnetic. And then he came out a few years later with cross currents, the perils of electropollution, you know,
There we
and
go.
and that's when I read it and I'm like, I don't have to be afraid because I've got BioTouch.
Which brings us right back where we want to be right now,
Right.
the conversation. Yeah. I also was exposed in the real early 80s. I went to hear a young man speak about all the electrical waves going on and how harmful they are. And I'm thinking, huh? But yeah, now in 1982, we didn't have cell phones and 5G and
No, or
all,
4G or 3,
yeah, anything, no
any
G,
G.
just gravity G.
I mean, the biggest polluter that he had in cross currents were, remember we had those little clocks, the digital clocks that had the lights on them and stuff.
Yes,
And he talked about getting rid of those around your bed. He even talked about the springs in your bed, a box spring.
right.
Remember when we used to have those?
Exactly, exactly. Well, this guy was talking about hair blowers,
Right, hair
talk
blowers.
radios,
Right.
and at that time, that was what state of the art
Right, and then
technology,
microwaves came in, and we started freaking out
microwave,
about the
and of course the
microwaves.
TV. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, it's been around a while, but you know, like I asked, I'm just wondering how many of us, until the other evening when we had Justin as our presenter, I really hadn't given it much thought. I remember the conversation about a year or so ago about when 5G came in. Is it harmful? Is it not harmful? Is it doing anything? Well, he mentions it during his presentation, but it's the gambit of our whole grid, electrical grid, and all of our technology now, that literally, is just an every moment to moment part of our lives. And
Yeah. I
wow,
mean,
it really kind of piqued my interest and brought an awareness to me the other night.
yeah. I mean, the whole idea. I mean, when he talked about even people who have solar panels on their house, I went, "Oh, well, there we
I looked at you and I
are."
thought, well, I wonder how he feels
You
about
know,
that.
and yeah, but the beauty of this, and the internet, you have your Wi-Fi, and now you've got your
Yeah,
smart TVs that are connected to the Wi-Fi, all on different parts of your house, and of course now you can have downloadable speeds in every room in your house, and you can talk to your lamp and it'll go on by
yeah,
itself, or
right.
you talk to your
Alexa,
toilet and it'll scrub your butt if you want. I mean, it just goes on and on and on.
ooh, like the Jetsons.
Yeah, well, we've moved in, and now we've got electric cars, right? And
Yep.
now we're having flying cars, and they've actually created. I saw an apartment building being created that had pads that these cars are going to be ready to go into, just like George Jetson. Remember, they flew that little
Right,
car. Well,
right.
these apartments are being built,
AI is here.
and so it's not about freaking out, folks. The
Right.
very first time I thought about it, it's like I have biotouch, and Justin confirmed that for me
He
because he
did.
talked about uh, nature, that we're all part of nature.
So let's start this in terms of biotouch, what Justin said, because I love this quote. It's not, I won't quote him, but this is the gist of it. First of all, he said that the universal matrix connects all of us with it and at the cellular level to each other. This is our oneness. When we talk about that, he literally took it to that universal source,
Right.
okay? That got my attention. But he says that these EMFs are disrupting our bodies, disrupting our bodies at the cellular level. When he said that, the other thing that he says, we, what's real is in our world is this grid. It's not going away. So how do we have to come to terms of living within it the best we can is
Right.
basically what it is. So if it's disrupting us at the cellular level, he mentioned Dr. Bruce Lipton
You did,
and
yeah.
so that was good for me. But literally we have been talking that long before this, that biotouch is a communication system. This is why it's important to touch on the skin, not through the clothes, not in the air, on the skin, because of that oneness, that connectivity to each other and to the universal source. But also, it communicates at the cellular level where healing can take place. This to me is just a foundational reason why we all need to be practicing biotouch,
Right, because
because it just goes right there.
right, just by doing that greeting, folks. So can biotouch help with EMF exposure and all its, disconnections? Yes, just by doing the greeting.
Yep.
And if you just do A of the headset, we have had the experience. So Justin talked about, the delta theta waves is what
Right.
we need to get to for real healing to happen.
Right.
And both of us were like, that's that
Yeah,
deep sleep. And we
we
were
say
like,
that.
how many times does that happen when we've done the greeting with people? And for you, that give that example when we were at that health fair where they were
Right.
giving free health care to a lot of the people in the community that could not afford it.
Yep.
And they'd never been exposed to anything like biotouch. And this one woman comes up and you start to do biotouch, and what happened to her?
Oh my gosh. Well, she I did the greeting with her, of course, and I just the moment I did A of the headset, she closed her eyes. By the time I touched point number one on the head, she literally passed out. And it kind of unnerved me and the rest of the practitioners there. We were all looking at each other, but I just kept doing the headset. I was just present with her, right? This is what BioTouch gives us the opportunity to do. And I didn't know I'm not going to stop, but I just kept doing the headset and everybody's freaking out, me too. And then the moment stopped, I called her name and I said, "Wake up." And she opens her eyes, looks around, sits up, and she says to me, "Oh my gosh, I think I went to heaven." I'm like, well, Dr. Stevenson, who invited us to that event,
Right?
we were telling her about that, and she said to me, "Bev, she went into an alternate consciousness." Well, when Justin was talking about the theta and delta and theta brainwaves,
Right?
which is the what? The universal rhythm, he says.
Right?
I'm like, well, that's what happened to her.
Yeah.
She was so in a state of, not in a natural state. She had issues. She was,
So yeah,
challenges.
we and
And the
we
moment, even that little light touch of love was enough to bring her down. And it happened evidently so quickly. It just,
And it happens numerous times I've experienced.
yeah.
And what's interesting too, I was teaching somebody in England and she had her friends over. This woman had only just learned the technique. So she has her friend and I'm taking them through the points and I have her do the greeting and just as she does A and A of the headset, her friend passes out. And they're all freaking out. Oh my God, what do I do? Get a towel, get a towel. And I'm
Right.
like, just be present with her. And
That's
now it's sort of like we're sort of starting to understand what's going on.
yes.
And you were talking about the touch on the skin because one of the things that Justin talked about was we need to get back to nature. Hug a tree, walk on the grass. We're hearing a lot about grounding.
Right.
Bring
Grounding.
yourself back to nature, jump in the water, those kinds of things. And by touching on the skin, you are connecting to that natural part of a human being,
Yes.
not through their clothes. You
Right.
can't get more natural than skin to skin touch.
That's
And that
it.
just reaffirmed to me why we touch right on the
Why we
skin.
touch on the skin.
And then people having these experiences of just almost immediately, I mean, we can't prove they're going into theta, delta waves because
No.
what do we know? We don't have a
Right.
machine on them.
We
But
don't know.
and
Well,
so,
you said
we're not trying to claim anything, but we're just sharing with you experiences that we've had and
right.
the result afterwards, which is it's like that neuroscientist said, when you have a wow experience in your life, changes happen in the deepest seat of consciousness.
Consciousness.
These passing out moments are those wow experiences. And even if you don't pass out, just at the end of a session with somebody, they sort of open their eyes and go, wow.
Exactly.
So
Wow.
somehow it's breaking that EMF uh, short circuitry. It's bringing us back into a harmony with ourselves. And what we've talked about before, a harmony between you and the practitioner.
Right.
There's this
Absolutely.
cycle, this circle that goes on and on
And
and on.
everybody wins in that, don't they? Because a true relationship is one of equality, and that's what BioTouch does. It's like the difference between someone claiming to be working on you, and then when you work in BioTouch, you're working with a very subtle shift of awareness, actually. Your partners, your equals, the
Right.
associate and the recipient, an equal partnership. How many times have we all said we may be the associate in the session, but we get something as well. We know we do. We feel it.
We
It's an
have to.
exchange.
Right. It's like that innate desire
Yes.
to help another human being, that innate love within us. It's within me, within you, it's in my neighbor. And you know what I just had a flash on? Maybe all this EMF pollution is the reason there's so much stress between people and the planet and political ideology and social, that the stressors that we're seeing and feeling every day is part of this cycle that we've been stuck in with the EMF exposure. Imagine if we could all just do a little biotouch.
Well, we've said that before. Can you imagine if everybody was doing biotouch, like, like brushing your teeth?
Yeah.
It would be, I think we'd be experiencing something. Well, that makes sense though, because if these EMFs, which we cannot see, they're waves, okay? But according to Justin, they are bombarding us on a daily, all the time.
With high frequency levels,
stuff.
right?
So
Beyond
if
natural.
they're disrupting our own cellular, chemistry, of course, if we're one and connected, that's going to interfere in our relationship to one another and disrupt some of that. So, there might be something to that.
Yes.
For sure, because...
And you have it, folks. You have these two fingers that you can lightly touch another human being. It's not something you'd have to go out and get. Now, Justin has his rocks, which are pretty amazing
grounding
stuff.
Bags.
Yeah, those grounding bags. Check it out, emfrocks.com. Nice tool to have. Yep. But, if you don't have the money to buy it and all you have are these fingers, it's sort of like you carry this with you. You were born with the opportunity to heal and help another human being. How can we charge you for that? That is why we've created this foundation, is to freely try to give this to the entire planet of human beings. And so please take advantage of this opportunity. Go to justtouch.com. You can open up, get the greeting for free, and if you want, there's all those different workshops. Go to the EMF Sensitivities workshop and you can watch Justin again. And there's so much information, but we've had numerous other workshops and they're all on the website and they're all for free. So, we teach the points, we give you information, and all we can do is keep trying to get this into your home.
That's it.
What do you have to lose? Well, a lot if you don't do it.
On many levels, not just with EMF, but just the healing journey. The biotouch opens up for all of us. And of course it starts in the body where we're being bombarded.
That's right. And we're all stuck in a body. If you're here on the planet,
all stuck in a body. And I will just remind everybody, there's nothing required to practice and be effective in biotouch except the fact that you're just in a body with two fingers. Boom. You've got it. That's all that's required.
So, again, please take advantage of this opportunity. We're on here every Monday. There's all the past shows. There's the workshops. There's information. There's testimonials. There's really no reason you shouldn't be able to take those two fingers, lightly touch another human being, and take a minute, 1 minute out of your life daily to help neutralize some of this EMF exposure.
That's right.
Doesn't hurt to try.
I'll ask that question again. Are you not worth 1 minute?
Yes.
Seriously.
So, thank you, Bev. That was a great little discussion. Again, any questions you have, any comments, put them in the chats. Get hold of us, office@justtouch.com. And we're going to let Horace talk about his beautiful expression of why we touch one another. Yeah. Thank you all for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.
Days in and days out, space and time is all about feeling pressure with the pain, in sunshine or in the rain. Living is a place in mind, giving is being kind, and the pain is too much. What we need is biotouch. When I'm touching you, you are touching me. It's a simple thing to do and a natural way to be. I know this to be true. It happens to me and you in the middle of the day. Energy just fades away. Down the line we realize we can re-energize, feeling better in the end with attention from a friend. When I'm touching you, you are touching me. It's a simple thing to do and a natural way to be.